Hello. Well, isn't this fun? I didn't really imagine that I'd next be talking to New Life Church under these sorts of circumstances, but here we go. It's lovely to talk to you all again. And hi, hello from sunny Colford. No, just kidding. I'm still in crew, pastoring the church from 120 miles away, but doing okay. Doing a bit of live streaming. There you go. Let's just show you the church logo thing. I've got. So I've gone all fancy. You know me. I like my techie stuff. Look, there you go. So anyway, I've been having quite a lot of fun with it actually, despite all this horrible coronavirus going on. And I do think this is me doing my thoughts. By the way, you understand that in amongst well, you're used to me by now. You know what I'm like. So. I was just having a think about how God just steps in at moments of history and actually picks just the right time. Now, when Jesus came, I remember saying to you guys actually in various sermons that actually Jesus came at just the right time. We might think, well, 2,000 years ago, why was that the right time for Jesus? Well, at the time, it was the height of the Roman Empire. You had all these communication networks and safe travel that enabled a message to spread to other people in just a really efficient way, something that had never happened before. The Roman Empire basically ensured that there was peace to a certain extent. That meant that there was at least a system of law and soldiers around to stop you just getting attacked by, well, what we would now call muggers, but bandits, barbarians, and so on, as you were travelling along. There were efficient roads built by the Romans so you could easily travel, and systems of getting messages from one place to another. We read all about Paul going on his missionary journeys and all the other disciples going out and doing their things. And actually, that was made possible by the Roman Empire. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that we have to thank the Roman Empire for Jesus' message. What it means is that God uses the tools that are available and he knows exactly the right time for things to happen. Jesus came at just the right time for his message to spread through the whole world. Whereas actually, at other points in history, we just didn't have that efficient communications network and system of travel to make that happen. And yet again, we find ourselves in a moment in time where actually the message of Jesus needs to spread, and we have the means to do that. I think there's been quite a lot of churches who would like to have got online, like to have done live streaming. I know that's something I would have liked to have done more of, but there's always something else. There's always something getting in the way. And suddenly we have an opportunity to be church online. I had one of my congregation tell me the other day, she saw this thing on Facebook. Don't worry about the theology of it. It's just making a point, okay? That actually it was like a conversation between God and the devil. And the devil was saying to God, I've managed to close all your churches. And God said, yes, but I've opened a new one in every single person's home. And I think that's what's happened, really, that we have a moment in history now where God is able to just reach so many more people through the internet, where as a church, we are able to reach people we could never have reached before. And I think this is an amazing opportunity. Now, I'm not saying necessarily that God has brought about coronavirus. That's not the tool that I would want to use. If I was God, who knows what? God can use any tool he likes, really. But I do think it's made us take a step back to evaluate what we're already doing, to have time, hopefully with family, or if we're isolated, to have time to reflect, time to pray, time to study. I think there are all sorts of valuable things that have come out of this. There's nobody who could deny that if you looked at the world about 6 months ago, you would have thought, I really just want to put the brakes on this. All the chaos happening in the world, all the political unrest, all the things about the environment, and all the things we hear about in the news, about the world just seemingly sort of falling to pieces. And actually, I think if you'd have said, I have a way of stopping everything, of bringing everything to a halt, so we can all just take time to reevaluate and just really assess what's important, I think you would have probably said, yes, okay, I'll push that button. I'll push that button that makes everybody stop. Now, would we want that button to be a virus? No, but I don't know what else would have done it. I don't know what else would have brought us to this place. And so I really hope that coronavirus doesn't reach any of your doors. I really hope it doesn't infect anybody else. I do not want anybody to suffer or to die with coronavirus. But I do think that as a benefit of this, we have a whole host of things happening. We have people meeting together in ways they've never met before. We have community. I mean, just the NHS clapping thing. Just imagine that. Yeah, could you have imagined that everybody would stand outside their doors and bang pots and clap their hands for the NHS just 3 months ago? You know, the sense of community, the sense of togetherness has never been stronger, even though we're isolated. And I think this is a moment in history that God has chosen. I think that this is a point in time where God has said that I am able to do something new here. I'm able to establish something new. I'm able to take what we thought was church and move it into a whole new sphere of being online. And I hope and I really pray that actually we will never go back to exactly what we had before. I mean, I think that's inevitable. I think that there will be lots of people who are just very scared for the whole future, that actually they're going to be wanting to isolate from each other for a long time. I think that it's going to take a long time to come out of this lockdown. I think that actually there are businesses that will never recover, and there are also families and relationships that will change forever. But I think a lot of those changes will be positive as well. I think that we will hopefully have gained a new sense of community, a new sense that actually we can reach out into the world online, a new sense that there is a bigger world outside of our door and people in it who need to be loved. You know, I do think there's a point in history where God will step in and he will be returning. You know, Jesus will return to earth. And we know that. The Bible predicts that. Whether that is upcoming soon, I know some people will see this as a prophecy time, prophetic time, where actually we're just heralding the arrival of Jesus. I think there have been lots of times when people have been marking that, and we don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. Maybe it'll be another 1,000 years' time. I really have no idea. Jesus didn't know. We don't know either. But I do think that this is a moment where we will see such a massive shift that we'll be marking before this time and after this time. Just like our calendars, we have BC and AD, we have before Christ and Anno Domini, which means in the year of our Lord. So that is basically every year after Christ's birth, we are then in the year of Christ. I think we will maybe not see something quite as dramatic as the birth of Christ here, we're marking before and after that, but I do think there is a big change in our society, and we will look back at this time and say, yes, I can see this moment where God stepped in. And I think at that point, you've got to decide actually where you want to be in that historical narrative. When you look back at your history of where, what were you doing during the coronavirus? What are you going to say? Are you going to say, yes, I spent my time looking after people and praying for people. I spent my time reading my Bible and building myself up. Or are you going to say, I managed to binge watch The Crown on Netflix? Are you going to say that actually I really sought the Lord with all my heart and worked out what was going to be happening for this new season? Or are you going to say, I really railed against the Lord and shouted at him? I think we have the opportunity at this moment to make it a point of history for us as well, that we can choose how we are going to define our lives going forward. One of the great things about stopping and taking a breath like we are now is that actually we can then say, okay, we're going to do things differently from now on. And so it's an opportunity. What are you going to do differently? It doesn't mean you were doing necessarily bad things before. I'm not trying to imply that. But actually, what are you going to do that's different and new now? What is the new you going to look like in the new world that we encounter after this virus crisis has gone? I hope it's going to be a person who's really just eager and excited about what we can do as a church to spread the word of Jesus, what we can do personally to spread the word of Jesus. I hope it's going to be people who are more focused on community and kindness and less focused on running around and trying to chase our tails about work, but actually looking after our families and spending time with them. I hope we're going to be people who most of all just love the Lord and spend so much time with the Lord because we've got so used to doing that in lockdown that we don't want to return to the old rhythms of busyness and craziness, but actually we just want to have rest and peace. That we want to have quiet time, that we want to have important and valuable time, and not time that's just wasted on just trying to fill our time with entertainment and work and all those other things that we can easily do. So there you go. That's my little take on this historical moment. So I don't know whether you agree with me or not. I'm in another church now, so hey, You know, doesn't really matter. But if you do want to come and have a look at what I'm doing, feel free to have a look at the Facebook page for the church or whatever. Andy, I'm not trying to poach people. They're 120 miles away. It's okay. So if you do want to have a look at what we're doing online, that's absolutely fine. And I'm sure, I know that New Life are doing some really good things online as well. So enjoy all that. And yeah, I miss you all. I'm only just down the road, but in another sense, completely separate from you. It's very strange. But I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all looking after yourselves. And I will talk to you all soon. Okay. God bless.